We're live. All right. Hey, everybody. It's Najee Dorsey, Black Art in America, here at the BAIA Lab, BAIA Cave, Black Art in America headquarters, gallery, Najee Dorsey studio. I don't know. You name it. I want to welcome y'all for joining us today. This is, I guess, the third week that we're doing a Facebook Live, Raven?
Yes.
Okay. Third week. And it's going to be an opportunity for us to share with you some of the things that we're doing, experiencing some of the wins, some featured art pieces, and brand new to this week, we're going to share some thoughts from some, personal experiences, some things that I've learned or I wish I knew prior to getting into the art business, prior to doing this full time. If you can hear me, drop a comment at the bottom. Say hello. Let us know where you're coming from. And so we want to welcome everybody to tuning in for this particular session, Black Art in America Live. One of the wins for this week, as we prepare for our big show at the Belmont Mansion and Underground Railroad Museum, Mr. Black Art in America Fine Art Show Philly. We had an opportunity to be on Praise Radio, Praise Philly, that was 107.9, and talk about the show, talk about some of the artists, and share with their audience. And it was a really cool interview. You can check that out. Be sure to tune in to Praise Philly if you're in the Philadelphia market. And we want to thank them for having us on. One of the other things is that one of the other wins is we're getting more and more vendors, more art galleries to participate in our upcoming show. A few of the galleries that will be featuring work, because it's not just Black Art in America, that's going to bring you the latest and greatest in contemporary art, as well as a number of our legacy artists. But we got galleries like Watercolors Fine Art out of Memphis, Danny Jenkins, and he's going to have a great selection of works by Woodrow Nash. We've got Jubilee Fine Art, who specializes in a number of prints by Romare Bearden and Elizabeth Catlett. But we've also got Tyler Fine Art, and they're bringing in a great collection of work that's going to include Sergeant Johnson. You've got Nelson Stevens. You've got Norman Lewis, and so many other great artists. Again, that show is September 14th through the 16th at the Belmont Mansion. Be sure to go to Black Art in America on the homepage and look for the graphic that'll take you to more information about a lot of the art that we'll be showing, as well as the programming. Be sure to get your tickets for the opening night reception and collector's preview, as we use those resources to support the For Color Girls Museum based in Philadelphia that's doing some great work. You ever heard of the For Color Girls Museum, Kristen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What about you, Ray?
Yeah, working with this project, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we got to tune in. We got some great content we're going to share. There was a conversation that we had with Mona Morton that talks about one of the rooms that she created at the Color Girls Museum. I'm excited to say we'll be coming to you live very soon on the homepage of Black Art in America. So what do you think, ladies? This is a brand new segment, brand new session to talk with the Black Art in America audience. Y'all got any thoughts, anything that comes to mind?
No, I'm ready for the top three. I want to hear
top three. Let's get into this week's three picks of artists that we want to feature and talk about. One is going to be, I don't know if we got this in any particular order. What you think, Raven? Okay, so we got works by David Driscoll, Lavette Ballard, and Alpha Conte. Not sure if we don't have any pictures, but anyway, we've got works by David Driscoll. So right here at the Black Art in America Galleries here in Columbus, Georgia, we got a really great portfolio of works by David Driscoll. These are reproductions, and the difference between, these are prints, fine graphics. The difference between a print and a reproduction is a print is designed and created in its own unique form. It's not a reproduction of an existing image, but something that's created all in and of itself to be the likeness or the image itself. A fine graphic is typically going to be a low edition number. You've got a whole list of things that you can learn about if you go to shopbaia.com in terms of the language. What's an AP, what's a limited edition, what's a graphica, woodcut, linoleum, so on and so forth. Lavette Ballard is one of the artists that we're excited to share in Philly. There's a Dr. Driscoll right there. Hey, Brother Larry Spence, thanks for tuning in. Lavette Ballard is one of the exciting artists that we're excited. One of the artists we're excited to share at the upcoming show in Philadelphia. Came into Lavette's work immediately resonated with me, the way that she repurposes the found wood, uses a lot of vintage and contemporary photography to share these stories of women and empowerment of women, and just kind of document our history and culture. We recently shared our work in DC at the Spiral Now show with the March on Washington Film Festival. Placed to work with a number of collections across the country. We're having a lot of early success with Lavette's work, and we encourage you to check out the work of Lavette. You can find it again at shopBAIA.com. The other thing is Lavette was one of the artists that was featured in the 10 emerging women artists to collect that are represented by African-American galleries. So be sure to tune in and check her work out and get a piece. Last but not least, you know, I can't talk to y'all about collecting if we're not doing it, right? So, I mean, what would that be like? That'd be, you know, that wouldn't be how I would do it. You need to have some skin in the game. So let me share with you a piece that I'm extremely excited to have in our collection. Alpha Conte. This brother's doing big things, represented by a number of galleries around the country. It's actually kind of hard to get his work right now. And there's nothing wrong with the brother, you know, growing in his career and people, you know, really seeking out his work. But this is one that we added this title, Mary P. Is actually taller than I am, and I'm 6'5". And so it's a great piece. It's a major work. Always get the best work that you can afford. You know, some people, they try to just get what they can get based on, you know, how much money they're looking to spend. But if you get the best work that you can afford from a given artist, you'll turn around many years from now and see that you've got a really strong collection of work. So there's just one little tidbit. What we got up next, Raven? Are we going to get into the things that I wish I knew when I first started? All right, cool. So a few points, a few things, a few, you know, few thoughts. In 2000, so I've, you know, been doing art, you know, for a long time. Started to really exhibit in the mid 90s. I'm gonna say 1996 is when I had my first exhibition. And so I exhibited from 96 up until 2004, you know, sporadically with a number of galleries, a number of spaces in and around Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, so on and so forth. And it wasn't until 2005 that I decided to say, hey, let me pack up my pony. And like the Beverly Hillbillies, we, you know, kicked dust and headed to Atlanta to pursue the art thing full time. And, you know, our first show was at the Underground, and I'll get into some of that later. But here's a few things that I would say, things I wish I knew about the business prior to getting in. Number one, what does that say? What that graphic say? Oh, okay, go ahead. Let's go. Let's run it. Let's run it. We'll see if we can pick up this energy and tempo. I would say that talent will only equate to about 70% of your success. Reason being, you have to build relationships. You got to get out and network with artists and art lovers. The example that I would give in terms of networking with other artists and art lovers is that, again, the first show that I did in Atlanta was at the Underground. It was the Heritage Art Festival. It used to take place in the summertime, around July or whatever. And it wasn't until during that show I had an opportunity to, you know, build some relationships with a number of artists, Arthur Dillard, you know, Ricky, you know, I think, who else was there? We had Sandy Hall. And so from those relationships, they would tell me about shows that were successful for them. And so that's the you know, that's the vital information you get, right? Why, you know, rebuild a wheel when you can just meet with other artists and collectors and they can give you solid advice about some of the shows and some of the hot pockets of areas where people are buying and looking for work.
Hey, Najee.
What?
We're talking about all this stuff to do with artists.
Okay.
If I'm not an artist, but I'm in the BAIA, like, do I need to listen to what you're saying?
Well, you know, honestly, yeah. I mean, because if you like art, then, you know, I'm sure you got some artists that you like. You got some artists that you want to support, and maybe you can share this information with them, right?
Mm-hmm. Do we have any artists or art champions listening? Can y'all say so in the comments?
Yeah. I know Larry Spence is an art champion. Who else is in this? Maybe an artist, maybe an art supporter. We want to share some content, share some news that, you know, that you will find value in. You know, I mean, I've got, you know, 20, I guess we do the full-time and part-time, you know, 20 years in the game, participate in a number of shows from New York, Miami, Kansas City, you know, the North and the South and in the Midwest. So we got a lot to share. Another point would be to get in the mix. You know, I mean, you can't sit at home in your studio and expect, you know, the success to just pour in, for people to start beat down your door. So get out to your local museum shows, get out to network with other artists, get out to the different art festivals and art fairs that take place in your market, maybe even outside of your market. You know, a lot of people going down to Miami to art, you know, for Art Basel. And I would say, hey, definitely come to the Black Art in America Fine Art Show Philadelphia and network with some artists, network with some collectors, and, you know, maybe even just take a look at some other work. You know, I mean, get outside of yourself and take a look at some work, you know, because we're all feeding off of, you know, our different experiences, the different works that we come into contact with. You know, do some reading, do some investigating. Another thing would be have a presence on social media, right? I mean, everybody's on social media, and you can sit on the sideline all you want. Don't mean the game ain't being played. So get on social media, be consistent, you know, share, you know, your stories, your process, you know, try to find a way to really connect with people so you can start to build your own following and people that can engage with your work. Also, get your work in front of art buyers. That's really one of the other things. It's like when you visit the galleries, when you visit, you know, the art festivals, you get a chance to see people who that's what they're there for. They're interested in art, and find ways to connect with them to, you know, to establish some relationships. And then I would say also be positive. You know, if you're not having the success that you want right now, maybe you're doing a show and, you know, you've been there all weekend and you hadn't sold anything. I mean, that's not necessarily uncommon. And, you know, what I would suggest is just keep a, you know, positive mental attitude, because in this business, we're not selling popcorn. And so all it takes is one or two good people to come in and make your day, to make your show. But you wouldn't want to lose them because, you know, they come into your space and you know, you're not throwing out the right energy for them. So I know it's always been a factor for me when I go to the gallery, when I go to the show as an art buyer collector, is the engagement that I'm able to get with the artist. You know, talk about your work, talk about the process, talk about how you get here. And those are the things that a lot of people say. What's up?
What if I'm not comfortable talking to buyers or anything like that?
If you're not good with talking with buyers and things like that, well, you know, some artists aren't. You know what I mean? They look for different people to help themselves to represent, maybe find a patron, find a supporter, maybe come out with the shows with you. But you can always consider BuyBlackArt.com as our fine art listing site, so you can upload your work and, you know, let us do the work for you, at least, you know, part of the work, and that's sharing it on social media. And it's an active place where people are looking for works by African American artists. So let's see what you got. What else we got, Raven?
What else we got?
Yeah. Should we? What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say, hey, to some of the people that are showing us some love.
All right, show us some love, some likes, man. If there's anything that's of interest, of any value to you, you know, just let us know. We're just trying to be more of a resource, and what could be more of a resource than having personal experiences, you know?
Yeah, so I want to say hey to Nevin, where are you tuning in from? We got Stefano, Megan, April, Nisi. Hey Nisi.
What's up?
Judy, Tanisha, Genevieve.
All right, now you ain't gonna be able to go down that whole list of 1,000 people that's watching right now, but
we got to say thank you.
We got
here, Terrence and Georgie.
How about you know, I don't see no likes, no thumbs up, and all that stuff. So I say I'm an artist from Mesa, Arizona, and I have been focusing on presenting my art for 10 years. Also, Mesa is difficult. Black artists get noticed, and for the emerging artists and other artists. Yeah, it can be, but don't fret. You know, it's a process. You know, you got to take a look at your work. You know, maybe do some evaluations on you know, the work that you're submitting. I mean, because even I'm gonna tell you one other thing that's important too, is the content, like the text that you put with the work. You know, what I've noticed from the years of curating content on Black Art in America is that, you know, it's kind of a passive thing. It's a form of entertainment, but you do have some real art lovers and art buyers that's currently looking at work. But the more information you put, people don't want to really read a lot, is what we find on the social media posts. So take a look at what you're posting, take a look at the information that you're posting. And also maybe, again, don't necessarily always focus on your work. Be a resource for the people that's currently following you. You know, post, you know, newsworthy information. about, you know, artist collections, maybe museum shows, things that's going on in your community. Maybe talk at some point and get into your processes. Maybe some of these things that you've already done. But you know, I'm talking to you and talking to myself at the same time. So talk about your process. Talk about your journey. You know, maybe talk about, you know, new bodies of work that you're thinking about. So let people dive a little bit more into what you're doing. But either way, you know, it's not. I would say we can't judge success by the numbers because, you know, again, we're not selling popcorn, so it's not the masses of people that's going to support you as an artist. It's going to be those individuals, whether in your local community or around the country, that's going to see value in what you do. So you just have to continue doing it and putting in the work, is what I would say. You know, that was one other thing that I wanted to share. I'm not sure how much time we got, but another here's a point from my personal experience. I did this notebook, right? So I'm jotting down, you know, different experiences, things that I've learned over the years of doing this business, and I'm gonna use this as a premise to share with y'all these different life experiences, right? And so one is, say you may not be ready for prime time. And I'm talking about myself, you know. I mean, you may not be ready for prime time, but the beauty about this business is that you will find support at every stage of your development. And that's been so true for me. Let me tell you this quick story. I remember going to, you know, I grew up in Blytheville, Arkansas, which is an hour from Memphis. So Memphis is the big city, right? So I go down to Beale Street, and the successful Black gallery in town was Willis Gallery. Carried the work of George Hunt, Twin, and so many other artists. And I showed him my work, asked me to take a look at my work. Didn't have an appointment. Don't do that, right? But anyway, he took a minute to look at the work, and he was so unimpressed, you know, and the things he said about my work really hurt my feelings. But it was that didn't stop me. That actually motivated me to get back in the studio to see what I can do. I also remember sending out letters and imagery of my work to Stella Jones Gallery, Savage that was up in New York. Who else was it? It was Garbo Hearn Fine Art as well. And you know, I only got one letter return. That was from Stella Jones, and you know, she wasn't interested at the time. You know, I wasn't ready, and so and that's okay. And you just never know what tomorrow may bring, because you know, here I am, you know, 15 years later from sending those letters, and I've had several shows with Stella Jones. And so you just never know. When your time comes, just be prepared, is the advice that I would give. We got somebody that's at the door, so I'm not sure who that is. Is there anything else that we should do, or should we start to wrap it up and let people know about, to be sure to follow us on your favorite social media platforms, whether you're on Instagram, Pinterest, or so forth. You know, next week, be ready for another conversation as I get a little deeper into the book of thoughts and experiences. Got some good ones to share. Get ready. We're having a phenomenal show, the Black Art in America Fine Art Show, Philadelphia, September 14th through the 16th at the Belmont Mansion. And we want to invite you to come and join us. Take a look at blackartinamerica.com and click on the graphic on the right-hand side that has the Philadelphia show. And take a look at the programming. Take a look at some of the artists that we'll be showcasing. And let your friends know. If you want to be an advocate, if you like the work that we're doing on Black Art in America, whether it's the podcast with the artists, whether it's the talks with the collectors, whether it's the educational resources for schools, you know, you can support our effort through our Patreon page, and you can find that in the educational resources tab, and you can become a monthly contributor to Black Art in America for such a very small amount and get some cool stuff in return. I'm going to end this by saying thank you for supporting Black Art in America. Our mission here is to document, preserve, and promote the contributions of the African American art community. And with your help, we can change the world. Let's do it. Appreciate you joining us.